Nnamdi Kanu's name mentioned as Israel Prime Minister prefers solution to help the Igbos out of Nigeria. Yes, so, my people. The Israel Prime Minister has finally preferred a solution, a serious one. According to him, he said that this is the only way out to save the Igbos out of Nigeria, and making reference to this very fact, he warned the Nigerian government to drop this marginalization move, or the Igbos will find their way out with the help of the Israeli government. In fact, for the very first time, the Prime Minister mentioned the name of the IPOB leader, making reference to what is currently going on in Nigeria and the injustice that is meted on the IPOB leader. In fact, you'll be shocked to hear all that he said and and the action the Israelites are planning to take to make sure that the IPOB leader is free, and also the Igbos are also free from this very injustice. In fact, I'll be dropping this very video with you. Please, I would like you to share it so that everyone will know the action that is about to be taken, so that when it's taken, it will not sound unaware to you. The Israel government is taking action to make sure that the Igbos and the Biafrans are safe finally. This information has reached them as they are now, um, making proper consultation in order to do the right, in order to take the right move. Would this really happen? Spend this little time with me as I drop this very video. My dear listeners, let's go there.
First and foremost, our beloved Holocaust survivors, survivors who came out of the inferno, who rose from the ashes and shine like torches. Last week, a very profound study was published that is based on the archive of the Nazi crimes in the United Nations. According to this study, the Allies knew about the mass extermination of Jews already in 1942. It is a striking fact, because so far we used to think that the time in which the understanding of the scope of the Holocaust by the Allies was 2 years later. I know the UN archive because when I arrived there as the Israeli ambassador in 1984, I demanded and I received the consent to my request to open this archive that was blocked until then. Following this new study, a terrible, hideous meaning becomes apparent. Had the superpowers in 1942 operated against the extermination camps in 1942, and all that was necessary was a recurrent bombardment of those camps, had they operated back then against the extermination camp, they could have saved 4 million Jews and millions of additional human beings. The superpowers knew, and they did nothing about the situation. While such atrocities were perpetrated against the Jews, when our brothers and sisters were sent to the gas chambers, when the sister of Esther Maron, representative of the survivors who will speak to us tonight, when her sister was torn off her hand by Mengele in Auschwitz, the superpowers knew and did nothing about the situation. Distinguished audience, what brought about this singular, inconceivable catastrophe that befell our nation is a combination of three things. It is abysmal hatred of Jews, the indifference of the world when faced with such atrocities, and the weakness of our people, this terrible weakness of our people in exile. Has hatred disappeared? No, it has not. And if we are to judge according to our 1,000 years of history of anti-Semitism, it would be naivete to think that it would disappear in the foreseeable future. Besides the anti-Semitism that reveals itself again in the West, there breaks out a profound hatred from the East, anti-Semitism of radical Islam, with its two factions led by Iran and ISIS, striving to eliminate us out there in the open. The hatred of Jews is directed now toward the state of the Jews. Anti-Semitism, this old new anti-Semitism, is prevalent among circles in the West and is prevalent in the UN agencies. Hypocrisy cries out to the heavens. And when it comes to the indifference of the world, has anything changed here? Well, here too we have to admit that the answer lies mostly in the fact that it is actually a negative answer. Even though since World War II, there has not been another tragedy that resembles the scope of the Holocaust in any way, but there are many cases in which the world stands on the side and does not prevent genocide and does not prevent mass murder. It can be Biafra or Cambodia or Rwanda or Sudan. And yes, in Syria too. And still, within that darkness, there are a few spots of light. One of them has only recently happened, and it is the clear response of President Trump concerning the massacre of the Syrian children. We are not indifferent to the suffering of the Syrians. We have a field hospital right next to the fence that has Israeli doctors, Jewish, Jews, Arab doctors who serve the Syrian population. Israel is treating those patients in this hospital and in other Israeli hospitals and has been treating thousands of Syrians, including children, who were hurt by this cruel war. But in general, the simple truth is this. In our world, the existence of the weak is not guaranteed. When faced with murderous countries and movements, the chances of its survival are not that great. The mighty survives. The weak ones fade away. Our people has experienced it during the Holocaust, and the lesson should always be seen before us at any time. And the lesson is that we have to be able to defend ourselves on our own against any threat, against any enemy.
My dear listeners, you can see that the Israelis, their eyes are seriously fixed on all that is really happening in Nigeria. Yes, despite the distance, they still fixed their eyes. You see, not that they cannot strike. they are actually, trying to apply in wisdom, believing that Nigerian government, with the level that they are and with the years they have spent as a nation, will know and try to call themselves to order. But since they have refused to do that, that is why they are taking this move to see how to make sure that the Igbos, you know, finally regain their freedom. And this, according to the Prime Minister, is something that must be actualized. You can see the reference they made, how on about the the Israelis, and how they actually regain their own freedom, and what actually led to that. So that is to say that the Igbos are also suffering the same fate like the Israel government. No wonder it is said that the Igbos are the Israel of our time. That is just the reality. Anyway, let me quickly bring you in, and then let's talk. Let's know the way forward. What's your take? What's your take? What's your opinion? Or what's your advice? Please let's help share this video. Let it go viral, and let everyone be aware of this very new um, development. Thank you.